The problem with the recording, which has just started right now, is it always saves to the cloud, so it takes up, the last time I tried it for a 30-minute lecture, it was something like 4 or 5 hours before Zoom lets me know that it's ready. So they won't be posted immediately. There's a little bit of a lag on there because I just won't have access to them until then. But they will all be recorded and they will all be posted. Also, this screen that I'm drawing on here, that one will get posted as a static HTML. And so you can always go back to that one. If all we've done is just look through hand-worked problems, you'll be able to see them all immediately just reading that HTML without having to actually scroll through the video. If we are doing something on MATLAB, then you won't be able to see that. It's just a static image. You'll always have access to the video, but you'll be able to look at the static image too to see any of the handwritten notes that I might have. The emphasis of the course is the same as it's been before. I've actually adjusted some elements of the course to better address this emphasis, and that's the mastery of material and energy balances for 3 different types of reactors. And we'll go through each one of those reactors over a period of about 2 weeks each, maybe 2.5 weeks for the first one. And towards that end, I've, like I said, developed a few tools that I think will be helpful for that, not the least of which is the book, but we will get to the book in a moment. What we're going to do today is pretty easy stuff. We're just going to go over the structure of the class because this is pretty new for everybody. Also, I apologize if if the letters P and B when I'm speaking into the mic are a little bit like they have some pop to them. I have ordered a pop filter, but I'm just waiting for it to show up. I've watched people on Twitch a lot. They've all got pop filters. I need to get a pop filter. So I want to briefly go over the syllabus. There's a couple of questions on the syllabus on the first homework, and we're going to get to the homework in a moment. And that's going to tell us more or less what kind of resources we need and what the structure of the course is going to do. I assume you can all read a syllabus by now. It's the same kind of syllabus you've seen before. So I'm just going to go through it pretty quickly, and we're just going to hit the highlights of whatever it is that I need to tell you about. So I'm going to switch over the windows that I've got here. This is our syllabus. You can access the syllabus through Canvas on the syllabus page or the home page. I'm just looking at it on my own computer. Obviously, everything that we're going to do this quarter for spring 2020 is going to be online. The whole thing is online. A couple of notes about the time. So I know that some of you are coming from different time zones. Every time that I've listed on here is basically the time in LA, Pacific Daylight Savings Time. If you're curious about it, you can go look up UTC 7 and figure that out, which is on time and date in case you're in a different time zone. All of the due dates are going to be known pretty well in advance. The most narrow due date that we're going to have are weekly quizzes that'll be available for something like 23 hours. So they're open for a 23-hour window. That's the only one where you will have to pay attention and make sure that you get it in on that particular day. Obviously, homework deadlines and things like that, you're going to know those pretty well in advance. So they're all listed in Pacific Daylight Savings Time. And so you'll have to adjust for your own time zones accordingly. There won't be anything like, other than these live lectures happening between 3 and 3:50, nothing will be available from like 12 to 12:50 p.m. on specifically Pacific Daylight Savings Time, and that's the only time that it's available. That only happens for these live lectures, again, all of which are recorded. So if you miss one, it's not the end of the world. The textbook that I've got on here, oh, sorry, we skipped the lectures. The normal ones, Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 3 to 3:50. Those are going to happen right in here. I use the Wednesday 4th hour, which happens right before our class, as an additional lecture. But don't feel like you're going to get overloaded in lecture materials. As I'll mention when we get to the book, the idea for the lectures is to do examples. There's not a lot of brand new material that we have to go through each lecture. And so ideally, it'll be something along the lines of 10 to 15 minutes of me talking and introducing new material with the remaining time dedicated to either me working examples or I will post an example and actually ask you to work through them. practice is the best way to learn these problems. There's not a ton of new theory that you'll have to work. There's virtually no derivations you're going to have to do. It's applications, which I think is actually one of the neater parts of this course. Is you really get to put that theory to use that you've been building up from thermo and material and energy balances. The Friday lectures, the ones that go from 3 to 3:50, we have I guess what you might consider something like a super TA. Jonathan Tran is a graduate of our degree program, and he's currently a graduate student here. And he's actually working with me to co-teach the course. So he's very interested in teaching. And John's going to run our Friday lectures. I'm still going to be here in chat. But you're going to be introduced to John on Friday, or we might introduce him on Wednesday. I know he's currently here in chat. You can probably find him in chat if you want to. But again, I've kind of locked down chat at the moment, so you can't talk to him at the moment. So John Tran's actually going to help co-teach the course with us, and I'm absolutely confident that's going to work really well. That was something that I actually did when I was a graduate student myself. I was able to enroll in a special course at my university at Penn State that allowed me to co-teach a class under the supervision of another faculty member. And so I'm really grateful for this opportunity to repay that learning experience to sort of the next generation of teachers. So John's going to work with us all throughout the quarter. The textbook that I've mentioned here, this is another big change to the course this year. It's my textbook. So I wrote this textbook. It's available for free. I'm going to switch over the windows here so that you can see where to get this. The website is given there. It's just CENG113ENG-UCSD.edu. If you follow that, you'll go over to this web page. Where you'll be able to download a copy of the book for free, which is just over here on the Downloads tab. You can also, if you want, for some reason, to read it directly on the website, you can, but it's kind of a poor window to read it on. But it's there if you want it. You can click this little button here to pop out a copy of it and download it for yourself. You can also order a hard copy through the university's bookstore. So I have one of those here, which if you look at my webcam, you'll be able to see it. But this is a copy of the book. I designed this book to try to be as helpful as possible as a resource when you're actually using it. So among other things, it's got things like this spiral binding on the side so that you can actually open the thing and lay it flat on a table, which is always, to me, really annoying when you buy used books or new books or something like that. They tend to open and then flop themselves right back up. It's got thumb tabs. It's got a fairly smaller form factor than most books because I know space is usually at a premium when you're on a desk working on stuff. And the price point is not an accident. So if you look at the price point right now, it's $10. If you read through the first few pages of the book, you'll find why I wrote this book. One of the main reasons that I wrote it is because the cost of your education is getting really, really high. And there's not a lot that I can do to help you with the tuition costs for actually enrolling in the courses, although I tried to push back in any number of meetings to try to keep things like lab fees as low as possible because I know those are getting passed on directly to you. But one place that I can attack that is through the book. And so you will never have any kind of like an annual fee to use this book. You download it and it's yours. I am not holding anything back in the book. It's not like I'm giving you a poor version of the book where if you go get another book, you'll get a better version. I'm trying to give you the best possible version of the book that I can. And part of that means not taking a slice of royalties anywhere to keep the price of the book as low as I can. So the actual cost of printing that book was about $20. And then I worked with our department to actually partially subsidize the cost of printing that book. So it's currently available for a flat $10. And you can get it shipped free to anywhere in the continental US. So given the number of online courses that you have to take, it might be nice to get yourself a cheap copy of a good book or what I hope is a good book, so that you don't have to stare at a screen quite as much as you did before. But you can always use this fully online version that I'm showing on my screen, and it's got everything in it that the other version does. If I show you quickly a couple of the things that you might use if you get the digital one. So one thing that you'll see over on the left, everything has bookmarks in it, so you should quickly be able to find everything that you want. The digital version is in full color, so you should be able to see all of the code and everything like that. And then the other thing that is a little bit trickier to see is, let's find one here, line 3, figures. Let's skip down a little bit. So anywhere that you see what's called a cross-reference, so for example, right here, it says, go see equation 2.21, you can click directly on that 2.21, and it will take you to equation 2.21. If you're using Acrobat or Adobe Reader, you can hit Alt followed by either the back key or the forward key, and go back and forth between pages. So it's a little bit easier if you see, you know, an equation referenced on there and you don't know what it is, click directly on the number, and it will take you directly to that equation. Otherwise, it's, you know, a PDF like you've seen before. It's distributed under a Creative Commons license, so you can print it out, post it places, whatever you want to do. The idea is it's there for you as a resource. The only thing that I would ask that you do is sooner or later, you will find an error on it. And so there's an errata page on our website where all of those errors will be summarized. So far, there's no errors on there. That only means they haven't been found. It's not that they don't exist. But you can also go onto the contact page over here, and there'll be a form that you can submit any of the feedback on here if you find I really like to find grammar and spelling mistakes, so please let me know if you find one of those. But certainly there will just be math mistakes as we go. And so you can send me some feedback through here and help me correct it, and I will update the website as we go. After we hit maybe a few weeks, if we've got a fair number of changes, I can just post a new version of the book available on the website in case you want to just download an up-to-date one. If we go back through the syllabus, we'll knock out the rest of this pretty quickly. In terms of course reserves, if you Google Fogler Chemical Reaction Engineering book, he's got some great resources, great textbooks available. You can find some cheap international versions. You can find some cheap used versions, but the brand new versions are one of the, well, never mind, I'm not going to criticize. They're good books. They cover a lot more stuff in a different pattern than we do, but they're still good as a reference if you ever want one. You can also find them on certain websites where you don't have to pay for them, but I don't know anything about this. I should stop the recording when I say that. I don't think I can pause the recording. Software, you're going to need obviously Zoom if you want to watch any of these directly, but you can also just watch them recorded on Canvas, which I'm going to try to make those available through YouTube because their delivery network's pretty solid. You're also going to need a copy of MATLAB. A fair number of the course of the things that we're going to do in this course are on MATLAB, hence the name of the book. You can either get a personal copy or you can just use the fully online version of MATLAB. They both work fine, and there's instructions here on the syllabus to help you do that. The grades on Canvas are the ones that are going to be posted. So you can see here the partial credit, or sorry, the breakdown of the percentages for each one of these. You'll get to drop a homework, you'll drop 2 quizzes. There are no midterm exams in here. And so instead we have lengthier projects that are due on particular dates. And so we're going to introduce the first midterm project probably later this week or early next week. And then there's no final exam, there's a final project. All of that is going to build upon itself. The project that I'm eyeballing right now is probably going to be one on wastewater treatment, because it's a pretty interesting system. And whether you know it or not, you are a beneficiary of wastewater treatment. If you live in San Diego regularly and listen to the radio here, you probably hear about the semi-regular spills of wastewater going into the ocean around here. So it's very much relevant. There was a question on chat, will there be a group project this quarter? No. You are, as we'll get to when we get to the project descriptions, you're allowed to work in teams if you want to, but I am not going to require that because we're under quarantine essentially. So I'm not going to force you to work with somebody else, but you'll be welcome to if you want to. They will be sized such that an individual can complete them, but they are also sized so that that individual, you can't wait till the last night to work on one of these projects. They're pretty big, but you will be allowed to work on in a group if you want to. Quizzes. This is the one that I had mentioned earlier in the lecture about. This is the only one that's going to be somewhat timed on each Monday of weeks. Oh yeah, no, I was looking here. I thought I had a spelling mistake. It's just a very weird way that I said that. They're available each Monday from essentially 12:01 a.m. on Monday, which is very, very early in the morning on Monday, until 11 p.m. That same Monday. So if you're on some time zone other than Pacific Daylight Savings, please adjust accordingly. They'll be 20 minutes and they'll just cover whatever we went over in the previous week. You can get a pretty good idea of that on the next page, but they're just restricted to what we go over in the lecture. They're generally going to be multiple choice, short answer, short calculation stuff, things that you can do within about 20 minutes. They're open book, they're open note, and you can use MATLAB. The only thing you can't use is other people. I really doubt you're going to have time to Google very much. They are timed for 20 minutes, so the odds of you being able to find a solution to a custom problem in 20 minutes is pretty nil. We'll have a couple of different sets of office hours. Jonathan and I haven't worked out exactly what those are going to be, but they're still going to be through Zoom. I haven't decided if I'm going to do those like a normal office hours where, you know, I just sit here on Zoom and anybody who shows up, we work with them, or I might just have lots and lots and lots of little 15-minute segments available during my day, and you'll be able to select a time that you want to show up so that I can just work with you individually. I'll probably send out a poll and ask everyone what they would prefer with something like that. But once we know, we'll post those so that you'll have access to them, along with instructions for how to handle them. Academic integrity for the course. There's actually going to be a few questions on this on homework 0, which is the very first homework you're going to do. Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's homework, but it's just for you to practice how to turn in homework. You're not going to have to calculate anything or anything like that. But you will have to answer a couple of questions about the academic integrity guidelines for this course. They're all basically taken from the policy on integrity of scholarship for UCSD, and they can be pretty well summarized by this little blurb here. It's got to be your own work. And you can't send your work off and have somebody else work on it for you, and you can't take work that's been done by someone else. So you are welcome to work together, for example, on those projects, but it can't be, you know, 3 people working, but it's really only one person doing the entire project, and then they just send the completed project out to everyone else. Various specifics are included down here, so you'll read through those as part of homework 0. Because we have a little bit more code in this course than we do elsewhere, we've also adopted some of CSE's guidelines for academic integrity, which has to do with source code. Same idea, right? You can't Google your project, take somebody else's code, copy paste it, and put it into yours. You have to do the work for yourself. Otherwise, you're not learning anything, which kind of defeats the purpose of the course. The daily schedule is going to tell us roughly what we're doing and when. All of the reading that's on here refers to which sections of the book you should be reading. Like I said at the beginning of the lecture, the idea of the lectures is to practice problems. There's not going to be a lot of derivations or things like that in each lecture. The notes that I have for deriving things or you know, posting references or something like that I would normally hand out as like a handout or a printout or a PDF or something like that, those are in the book. And so all of that information in the book is designed to teach you how did we get to that particular equation, and then how do we use it. So the examples that I do in lecture will never be the same as the examples that are in the book, because I want the examples in the book to be additional examples for you to follow. And those are obviously fully worked. So you'll be able to get extra practice over there. And then over here on the right, under the homework being posted and due, the post is when will that homework be posted? It'll usually be posted around something like 12:01 a.m., something like that on the date that it's noted. And then it's due at 11 p.m. on the date that's noted here. So your very first homework, homework 0, is already posted, and it's going to be available or due for submission on Wednesday at 11 p.m. And again, homework 0, don't worry, don't freak out about homework 0. You don't have to read the book or anything like that. It's just to practice the submission procedure, because the submission procedure is going to go through Gradescope. And I want you to practice that if you've never seen it before, because we have a particular format that we need for something like that. We only have one day off, which is out here on Memorial Day. Other than that, we're pretty much here the whole time. So we have a surprising number of lectures. But like I said, the lectures are intended to be examples of how to calculate things. So I hope that you'll find them more useful than just going through derivation after derivation after derivation. There's not a lot of derivations that we have to use, which I think is, again, an interesting feature of this course that doesn't show up on a lot of courses, is we don't have a ton of derivations that we have to work with. So let's see, hit the quizzes, office hours, academic integrity. We are at daily schedule. On to Gradescope. We actually don't have, we got about another 10, 15 minutes or something, and then I'll just open it up for questions, and I'll just hang out and answer questions. Homeworks are going to be submitted through Gradescope. There's 2 ways that you can get to Gradescope. One of them is through Canvas, and I'm going to show you as much as I can through my version of Canvas. And I say my version of Canvas because I can only show you what it looks like when I use this student preview kind of Canvas version, and it's not always a one-to-one correlation with what you see. It's pretty close, so you should see something like this. So the homepage of our Canvas page should look something like this, and this is also where you can get the PDF version of the syllabus, or if you just want to look at it, there's this tiny, very non-obvious icon that looks like a piece of paper with a magnifying glass on it, and you can check out a preview of the syllabus here, or if you just click on the link, you can download it. The modules page, eventually after like maybe week 2 or something like that, I'm just going to change the homepage to the course to be this one, because this is where you're going to spend most of your time doing something. Eventually, all of the lecture links will be posted right here, so you'll be able to get those static HTML documents of any handwritten notes, as well as links to the recorded Zoom lectures under this particular heading. The homework assignments will be posted here. The weekly quizzes on Monday will be available here under the review quizzes. And then eventually the projects will get posted down here. To get the homeworks themselves, go to here under the homework assignments. And if you click on that link, it should take you into here, and it'll say you can download the assignment at this link, or you can look at it. This one, maybe you only need to look at it, something like that. And you'll be able to access it on here. At the top of every homework up here in this section, I know that looks a little bit small, but you'll be able to see it in full screen on yours. There's just some general information about what the homeworks should look like. They should all be put together into either a Word or a Google Doc file. And so that's what they have, or what I've written up here at the top. Assemble everything inside that Word or the Google Doc file. So that means you can do things like work everything by hand and then just take pictures of it and put it in that Google Doc. That's perfectly fine. You can still work all of these by hand. If you have any code, you can post it or paste it directly inside of there. I'll often ask for plots of various things that happen in homeworks. All of those plots should go directly inside of that homework. What you're practicing for homework 0 is to assemble one of these documents. And so that's what these problems 0, 1, 0, 2, and 0, 3 are asking you to do. It's just practicing assembling these documents. And then the pages after this will usually not be included on a normal homework assignment. This is an example of what that assembled document should look like. And this is the thing that you then upload into Dashboard. Working on the homework via tablet, iPad. Yeah, absolutely. If you want to use a tablet or anything to write directly into there, go for it. Just make sure that it's all collected inside that single Word or Google Doc. So whatever your tablet does, if it can write directly in there, go for it. If you write it in the tablet and it saves it as an image, just embed that image inside of there, so that we've got just one document flying around. Once you've got that all assembled, the other directions on here are to save it as a PDF. That's about the only thing that Gradescope will accept. Both Word and Google Docs can just save any document as a PDF, and you'll be able to upload it that way. And then to upload it, you have two options. They both have to go through Gradescope. You just have two different ways to get to Gradescope. And neither of these are going to look exactly like what they look like for you, because you're going to see them from the instructor view. So yours could look a little bit different on each one. If you are inside Canvas, one of the tabs you see on the left should be Gradescope. If you click on that, you kind of get the Gradescope homepage on this like mini version, because it's sort of embedded inside Canvas. That's perfectly okay. The courses that you'll see will be various ones. I don't know. It depends on what you've got. So basically for homework assignments, they should be one page only. No, you can use as many pages as you want for the homework. So in that example one that I had, yeah, they were each one page, but you can take 6, 7, 8 pages. None of our homework should require 6, 7, or 8 pages, something like that. But you can take as many pages as you want inside the homework. Yeah, as many as you want. They will each start on their own page. So add a header inside of there, and that's what you'll see on the sample one. And that's just for this part of Gradescope, because when you upload it to Gradescope, and unfortunately this is the part that I can't mimic, but I'm gonna post 2 videos so that you can see what I'm talking about. When you click on our class, which should be CNG 113 Spring 20 B00, you'll be able to see a list of which assignments are available. So right here is homework 0. It'll have a release date and a due date. Please tell me if that doesn't line up with what's on the syllabus or what's on the other pages in Canvas. They should all be self-consistent, and I will fix them up. You'll click on homework 0. This is the part that will probably look different for you. I can't make Gradescope give me a student view, so yours will look a little bit different. And basically what you'll end up doing is there'll be a button down here that says upload submission. You'll select your file in the same way that you would select any file, which again, I can't show you right here. You'll upload that, and then the very key portion of Gradescope is that next window, which unfortunately I can't show you, but I'm going to post a video for it. It's going to ask you to click on various pages. So let's say there's 3 homework assignment or 3 problems that I've created a rubric for. It's going to ask you, click on the page where this homework assignment is located, and that gives us the ability to actually go find your homework. It takes all of about 10, 20 seconds, something like that. And so you're going to be able to practice that on the homework assignment that we've got for homework 0. The other way that you can go about doing this through Gradescope is you can actually go to Gradescope's homepage. So this is Gradescope's homepage, and you'll be able to log in. You should be able to log in with your UCSD information. And it basically takes you to exactly the same page. It's just not quite so cramped. There's a little bit more breathing room, and you can make all the same submissions through the Gradescope homepage. That's totally fine. You can go through Gradescope if you want. I'm going to post in chat to everybody in the meeting right now a couple of helpful links. So one of them is like a 3-minute video. So this one. If you look in your chat window, you should have a link in there. It's just a short 2-3 minute video on what that submission procedure looks like. And that's about the amount of time it'll take for you to upload them, is 2-3 minutes. Once you've done it a couple of times, it may not even take you that much. If you don't want to watch through the video, or you just want a handy reference for it, so this one was the video, and then you can also get a text walkthrough if you check out that PDF that's on the chat window over there. Those will both walk you through exactly the same thing that I just went through, except you will actually be able to see what that submission process looks like. Please don't forget the tagging homework parts. Don't forget. don't forget to tag your problems. And you'll see what I mean when you go through that video and then you upload those. You'll be able to select which problem appears on which page of your homework. That, by the way, is the workaround that allows you to create as many pages as you want in your document. We will still be able to find them all, but when you're tagging which individual assignment shows up on which page, that's how we go from assignment to assignment. So please don't forget that portion. And so what should you do? Is homework due every Wednesday or posted according to each homework? It's different. So the due dates for each homework assignment, let me switch over to the syllabus. To find them, go onto the daily schedule. And so you'll see the due date is listed over here. So the majority of them look something on the order of like 10 days to 2 weeks, something like that. So the first real homework that you've got, homework 1, that's assigned Wednesday. You have through the following Wednesday and then even to the following Monday to submit that particular assignment. So you've got closer to 2 weeks for that assignment. And then as you go through, the numbers will show you homework 2 gets posted on Monday. It's not due until the following Wednesday. And then, they kind of go through that particular pattern. So the post dates and the due dates are available in the daily schedule on the syllabus. You can also find them on our Canvas page, just slightly slower. So if I switch over to the Canvas page and you look under modules, that'll be one thing that shows up. So right here underneath the homework assignment will be April 1st. So that'll be the deadline. If you go to your homepage for our course, you'll actually be able to see a series of different summaries for what's due when. So the very next homework, or actually anything that's got a posted due date, will be available here. You can also look over on the right at the to-do list and find other things that are available. And then the calendar over here will show you what's available next. If you click on View Course Calendar, you'll see everything that I've posted that's got a due date. So usually I will post the due date on the same day that the assignment itself is posted. So if I switch over to April, you'll see that the first homework, the homework 0, shows up over here on Wednesday. There's another question in chat. Can I reiterate what I mean by tag the problems? Yes and no. So the part that I can reiterate is if I open up homework 0 real quick. Let me resize this. There we go. And share this screen. So what I mean by tagging problems is the file that you're going to submit will look something like this. So on one of the pages, you'll have a header that says, here's problem 1. You'll answer whatever you need to for problem 1. This is problem 2. So I'm having you demonstrate how do I upload an image of my work, so you make sure that it's visible and things like that. Problem 3 is down here, so I'm going to have you practice embedding code. The tagging of the homework problem only occurs when you upload it to Gradescope. So that's the actual process of submitting your homework. And so if you watch the videos that I posted in chat, they will demonstrate what I mean by tagging homework. So it will ask you, please select the page on which problem 3 is written. And so you'll go into your assignment. It's a pretty straightforward interface that they've got. You'll just click on the page that says this is problem 3, and that is what I mean by tagging the homework. When you submit it, then we will see your tags on the other side so that we can skip directly to the problems. You don't have to do anything special about the assignment itself. There's nothing in there that would there's nothing special you have to do to the file itself prior to submitting it in order to get those tags. There's another question, can we link MATLAB files to Gradescope or do screenshots? Screenshots are fine. Yep. I would rather you not upload the file itself, because if you upload the file itself, we now have multiple files to keep track of. And I don't think Gradescope actually lets you upload multiple files. But you can take a screenshot of the code if you want. The code that I've got here that you're seeing on the screen right now, that's just a copy paste straight out of MATLAB. So you can take the script that you've got in there, just copy paste it right over here into like a Word document or a Google Doc, and it should show up fine. don't worry if the formatting looks a little bit funky or something like that. It's not the end of the world. But screenshots are definitely fine. I don't think you're going to be able to upload the actual script itself. The solutions that I post, you'll be able to download the script solutions. You just won't be able to upload your own. The images that you create, those, I think this one that I embedded here, this is just a screenshot, right? It was up on my window. I dragged a selection over it and pasted it into a Word document. So we've only got about 8 minutes left. I will switch back over to the stylus page here, just so that we can summarize really quickly what should you be doing next. So I'm gonna erase this stuff. So next steps. Oops, that's a little bit tilted, isn't it? Let's undo that. I think my mapping is off a little bit. I'll have to fix it up. Next things you should do. Definitely get the book. You're going to need the book sooner or later. Wow. Oh, it's mapping to my whole page. Now I understand why it's doing that. Normally I don't write like a child, so don't worry. The future ones will look a little bit better and it won't be quite so childlike. The other thing that you'll need, MATLAB. Make sure you get a copy of that. You'll need a copy of it just to do the homework 0 that you'll want to submit, and then go through homework 0. So homework 0 is posted on Canvas, and you'll be able to submit that up until Wednesday at 11 p.m. And so the point of homework 0 is practice this format and submit it to Gradescope, so that we will then go through and mark everything appropriately. So with that, we're actually close to done for class. It's 3:43. I'm going to keep recording this just in case there's any questions that want to pop up, but I'm not going to go over anything else that I hadn't already planned to go over, but I'm going to hang out until about 3:50, and I'll just answer questions as we go. So I'm going to mute my mic until I've got something useful to say, but please feel free to post a question in chat, and I'll answer as many as I can in the next few minutes. Thanks everybody for showing up. I know it's going to be a little bit different this quarter than it has been in the past, but believe it or not, I'm pretty excited about the system that we've got set up here, because the workflow should be pretty great. And we've got all of the normal tools that I would normally use to help you learn this material. So I do think that it's actually going to go pretty well. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll hang out and answer any questions that anybody's got. Thanks all. Couple of questions. When can you expect to receive the first midterm project? It will probably get posted later next week. Academic integrity question. Is it okay if we take inspiration from other people's code? Not copy pasting, but using someone else's code to understand what's going on and such. Yeah, that's fine. I think one of the best places for quote unquote inspiration on stuff is actually the documentation on MATLAB's website. It's usually pretty good, and you are definitely more than welcome to work together in that sense. I think the person who asked that question, I can see your name and I'm deliberately not saying your name because I'm not saying anybody's name right now. It's the copy pasting part where you would get into trouble. That would be bumping up against academic integrity. So we can't use other word processors, even if we can convert it to PDF. No, you can go for it. Anything any PDF that you can create is fine. I've suggested Word and Google Docs, but you are welcome to use anything that'll create PDF. When will you administer the poll for office hours? Probably later today, early tomorrow. Understand MATLAB, deep level, what other sources are available? Other sources for MATLAB, I don't know. That's kind of the reason that I bought this, or that I bought it. This is part of the reason that I wrote the book, is because a lot of textbooks will either deal with MATLAB in isolation, so it's like how to use MATLAB generically, or it will deal with how do you do chemical reaction engineering, and then it's up to you to solve the code. And so this book was written with the intent of demonstrating how to solve these problems, in particular with MATLAB. The best way to get a deeper understanding of it is try to use it even when you wouldn't otherwise use it, and that practicing will help you figure it out quite a bit better. Can we ask you questions that we might have on the project, or that are not allowed? No, definitely. You can ask me questions. John will also be available for questions on the project, definitely available. Are we able to set up one-on-one office hours if needed? Yes. And so I'll try to figure out something to do for that. It'll probably be, I'll have times set aside on a Google Calendar, and you'll just be able to sign up for them, so that email is going to be crazy this quarter. I already know email is going to be crazy. And so to eliminate emails back and forth of finding out when people are available, I'll just set up a Google Calendar and you can sign up for times. Is the curve on the syllabus set in stone? No, it could be adjusted. We'll see. That curve, though, I've used it before. I don't want to call it really a curve too much. The only thing that I mentioned about a curve in the syllabus is that the average of the class will be somewhere around a B-. That's not at all set in stone. No, it's not set in stone. How proficient do we need to be on MATLAB in order to complete homework this quarter? Good question. If you're not proficient, you will be by the time you're done with the class. The book itself actually has chapters set up right before each of the main reactors that goes through the fundamentals that you'll need in order to use MATLAB to solve any of the problems that we've got inside the book. So if I switch over to the book really quick and you look at the thumb marks in each one. So right away, there's a review of MATLAB. And this goes through, chapter 1 has all of the major functions that you would need in order to do all of the assignments, all the way up until you get to the next MATLAB, which is differential equations. And then within each one of the chapters, there's a subsection. So if you go into the first reactor that we'll see, CSTR, there is an entire section in here that's dedicated to how do we solve these problems specifically with MATLAB. And that's, again, something that I've noticed is not present in a lot of other books. And so that's designed to help you build up that proficiency inside MATLAB. I heard we have to download some special MATLAB package. What special fitting package are you talking about? The curve fitting app is the other one that you would need. Curve fitting app. And you will have the ability to select that when you're installing MATLAB. You'll see a list of like 40 some packages. The only ones you really need are the core MATLAB package and then this curve fitting app. And you can always go back after you've installed it and reinstall them. So if you're confused about which one to get, you have two choices. Just get the core MATLAB and you'll be good for like 8 weeks, or get them all, right? If you have, I don't have that much space, or well, I do have that much space. If you've got plenty of space on your PC, just get them all, and you'll have them. If you have a minute, I won't read this one. Oh, okay. Yeah, John, I see your question, so we can take care of that after. How many questions is in a quiz? Good question. I don't know. It'll vary. They'll be worth 10 points each. And so some of them may be worth 2 points. Some of them may be worth 1 point. I don't think there would be anywhere it's just a single question worth 10 points. But it'll vary. No more than 10 questions. And that would be on the extreme end of just a bunch of sort of rapid fire questions. That may be what the first review quiz looks like, because it'll be things like, reviewing the syllabus and that sort of stuff. Are the midterm projects group or individual? Your choice. They're designed to be solved individually because we're on a national, almost global quarantine. So it's up to you. You can work on them together or you can work on them separately. Will the web version of MATLAB be sufficient? Definitely. And if you heard that question and you don't know what I mean by the web version of the course, if you go in, or the web version of MATLAB, if you go into the syllabus, right here is MATLAB Online. That will solve every problem that we've got. That is the full version of MATLAB. So you can always go onto MATLAB Online. It's just a little bit strange sometimes if you have to upload data, but I don't think you'll need to upload any data for this class, but it will definitely work. Is the curve fitting app in MATLAB Online? I believe so. It should be on there. Does the online version already have it? Oh yeah, I believe the online version already has the curve fitting app, which actually, since we've got a moment here, I can go ahead and log in and double check. So I'll share my, yeah, it's the CF tool will pop it open, but you don't actually need the curve fitting app. You can use code in order to do it. Let's go ahead and sign in. Give me just a second. I'm gonna, A, I'll show you how to know if you've got what you need, and B, I'm gonna pull up the names of the function that you need. Fit NLM, there it is. So I'll switch over to MATLAB Online. So this is the window of what MATLAB Online looks like. It's exactly the same as any other one. The two functions that we'll need, well, among other things, the two functions that we'll need are fitlm. So if you type help fitlm, this one's got it. If you get a help document, if you get text here, you've got that function. So you don't need to do anything else in order to get that one. If you've got fitlm, then you've got the other ones. They're all part of the same package on there, which is already on MATLAB Online, so you don't have to download anything on here. I'm just curious, since somebody asked if the CF tool works. Help fit. Yeah, it's already got the curve fitting app too. Let's see what happens if you try it. So normally if you type CF tool, you'll get a pop-up window. I don't know if this is showing on your side, but there is a little version of the curve fitting tool that's showing up right now. So it's fully functional. If you want to use the online version of MATLAB, you should be good to go. CF tool, yep. Can we send you screenshots of our code to determine common problems? Yes. So the question, can you send me a screenshot of your code and have me look at it if you can't make it to office hours? Yes, but I actually prefer you to send the file itself. One of the things that I want to practice inside the lectures is how to use MATLAB's debugger, because the debugger in there is really good. And that's actually how I debug most of your code when you send it to me like that. And so if you send me a screenshot, I will probably just respond and say, can you just send me the code? Because it's easier for me to track down mistakes, typos, bugs, that sort of thing, if I can actually run your code. So yeah, that's perfectly fine. So we're actually about 4 minutes over. So I'll hang out about another minute or so, but I think then I'm going to wrap this up. Okie dokie. I think that'll do it. So thanks everybody for the questions, and I will see you Wednesday at 2 p.m. And I'll send out reminders on the announcements page as well as by email. So you'll be able to see me then. I'm going to end the meeting, but I'm going to leave the actual meeting open. So for at least a little while. So John and I are going to set up a meeting here in a moment, and that may kick you off when I create a new meeting, but I'm going to end the meeting, but leave it open in case there's anything else that you need. Thanks all. We'll see you in about 2 days.